Hi guys, welcome back. In this video we're making a really simple knotted hanging Christmas tree. They're made with driftwood and perfect if you don't have a lot of space. You can make them pretty much as big as you like and zhuzh them up. We've put a star on the top and some fairy lights as well. They are a really simple design. We've got a little loop on the top and then we've just knotted down in between each piece of driftwood. And the pieces of driftwood are bigger as we get towards the bottom of the tree. We've just secured it at the bottom with a simple knot as well, so really simple design. You can take these pieces of driftwood in and out, so it makes it easy to decorate. You could also just make this tree with branches instead of driftwood. For our design today, we've got 8 pieces of wood, varying from biggest to smallest, and a small macrame wooden ring. We're using 4mm white macrame cord, and we need 2 lengths about 240 centimeters each. These lengths do depend on how many branches you're actually using and how thick your branches are. So mine are quite thin and I'm only using 8. So you need to adjust the lengths accordingly. Now to start with, we place the ends together on our cords and then place the opposite ends together as well, following them all back down to the middle. Now we place this middle loop through our ring, bringing those cords around so that our ring's connected onto our cords. Trying to make sure it's sitting nice and tidy as well. Now using a ruler, we're going to measure down about 5 centimeters and tie our first overhand knot. So we're just going to space them out equally down each group of 2 cords. So just bringing that cord around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop, and we're going to pull this knot down tight onto that 5 centimeter mark. Now 5 centimeters might be too small if your driftwoods are quite round. So you really need to check them for size and see if they're going to fit in between the knots. Now we tie another knot on this side as well. Bring the cord around to form a loop, bringing the end through the loop, pulling it down tight onto that 5 centimeter mark. So the knots should be even on both cords, and now we can check it with our first piece of driftwood for the top, making sure it fits in between those 2 knots okay, and that's going to be our first branch. Now we're going to continue working down our strands and tying knots 5 centimeters apart as we go. So we can take that out and just keep going, tying another simple overhand knot, pulling that down onto 5 centimeters away from the previous knot. So it's super important to make sure that the knots on both cords are sitting nice and evenly. You can always untie and retie knots before moving forwards if you're not happy with them. And making sure each knot is nice and tight. You can keep checking it with the driftwood in there as well, just to make sure you're happy with how it's progressing. Sometimes you do have one driftwood that's a lot bigger, especially towards the bottom. And so you may need to adjust the distance in between these knots. You do want to try and keep them as even as you can so that your tree looks uniform the whole way down. Definitely keep checking it a few times as you go, just to make sure you're happy with the progress. And then just keep going with your 5 centimeter knots until you've done as many knots as you need to hold your number of branches. Really simple, and now you've got to the bottom, you just want to tie all these cords into another overhand knot, making sure not to pull it too tight so that your cords down the sides can continue down in that triangle shape. You want those last knots to still sit out near the edges of your branches. Alright, so that's it. Now you can pop a star on the top and fairy lights, zhuzh it however you like, and enjoy your beautiful tree.